Nobody wants this face when they come to talk to a girl.
Get lost, you creep.
Nobody wants that.
In this video, we're going to tell you what the true definition of creepiness is and a couple techniques for how you can avoid it.
That's right. In this video, we're going to talk about how not to be creepy so you don't weird people out. The number one thing for us not to come off as creepy, I think, is for us not to be super needy. And the way to get to that place is to actually feel good about who we are in general. Because I find you can't really fake a good vibe, right? And a good vibe is everything when it comes to not being creepy. If you genuinely don't feel good about who you are, you're not happy with your life situation, and you're just overall not content, period, women are going to sense that. So if you really have that feeling of loneliness, despair, you desperately need to be loved, and you're trying to talk to a woman, there's no way you can cover that up, really. There's no magical trick that suddenly she'll be like, wow, that guy's a real smooth operator. No, your vibe is always going to come across. So the number one thing I would say, if you don't want to come off as creepy, is actually work on your life overall. Have friends that you actually really love and care about. Like, have deep relationships with human beings that care about you and that you care about. That'll make you feel really good and content and wonderful. Even if you don't have the dating part yet, have other relationships that are fulfilling. You can have some social life where you're used to interacting with people. If you're sitting at home all the time watching Netflix and eating popcorn, there's no way you're going to be able to interact successfully with somebody and come off as like a normal person who isn't super needy, right? And you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, hope you're all happy now. Fatty make a funny.
So having some kind of social life, having some kind of social skills, like having the basics down where you can go out and you can just introduce yourself and talk to people and have conversations, okay? And just overall life happiness. If you have a job that you absolutely fucking hate, that's going to come across in your energy. If you're spending most of your time doing things that you're just unhappy with and you're generally an unhappy person, that's going to come across in your vibe. And again, because you're desperately striving for that happiness in something outside of yourself, i.e. getting a girlfriend, getting a date, whatever, women are going to sense that. So you really want to just work on being happy in general. I tell a story of a guy I coached many, many years ago, and he just kept approaching women, doing what I was saying, but it just wasn't working for him. And I chatted to him a little bit more after. I was like, dude, what's going on? I don't get it. You're doing the steps I'm telling you. You're smiling. You're getting in front. You're doing all these things. But old women are like running away from you. And I knew it was something to do with his energy. And I said, how are you actually feeling? Like, how do you feel? And he looked at me and says, oh, well, I'm depressed, bro. I'm on antidepressants. They're kind of helping, but not really. I still feel really bad. And I said, okay, get that fixed first. Like, you got to get to a place where you're at least feeling good about you overall, then worry about, going and connecting with women. So that would be my number one thing. Like, whatever the things are you have to do in life just to feel good in general. Maybe you just need to get some exercise. Maybe you need to lose some weight. I don't know what it is. But you got to be good with life first before you can have that positive vibration that'll make sure you don't come off as a creepy motherfucker. Another huge tip is, and this is something that you have to really develop in your life. It's not a hack. You can't just fake this. But if you learn to have this characteristic, genuinely, it'll change all of your interactions with everybody that you're into. Men, women, aliens. It's curiosity. It's genuine curiosity for people. If you become someone who really is curious about somebody's story, their history, what happened to them, and how they developed the quirks and beliefs and habits and even the lifestyle that they have, if you're really just a fan of human beings in general, you're just going to be innately curious about people that you meet. And that is the most attractive thing, not just when you're connecting with women, with everybody, like just everybody. When you're with someone and they're really focused on you and they're really curious about you, wow, that's the best. If you can get to that place of authentic curiosity, it kind of counters you being a little bit creepy, because creepy is like you really, really want something desperately, like you want the sex or you want the girl's number, you want her to like you. But even if you really want to connect with someone, but you have built up this innate curiosity, so you're coming up to someone, you're going, wow, I love your vibe. You seem so cool. I'm really curious about your story. Like, who are you? What's your story? I'm curious. And they really sense that. That will be the dominant thing they're feeling, that curiosity, rather than the neediness. So even if there is some neediness there, if you're genuinely curious, that's going to come across, and that's kind of going to like push the neediness aside. And then once you get into that conversation, you're really connecting authentically. Suddenly you're like, oh, actually it's going well. And you know what? You'll just be more comfortable in the situation rather than being like, oh my God, I just want this girl's phone number. What do I say? Oh my God. So genuine curiosity, absolutely huge if you want to come off as a normal dude who's not creepy. You know what I like to know? I'd like to know what my numero uno North American infield instructor has to say on this matter. Coach Mike, over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Coach Mike Doretto with the Infinite Man Summit. Recently, we put out a video where we went around Vegas asking women how they like to be approached. Is it okay if a man approaches you on the street for the purposes of setting up a date? And if so, how would you like to be approached? What is your advice for that guy? We got some very interesting, but not surprising to us, kind of responses. All the women said, definitely approach me on the street if you're interested. We respect guys the most if they can come up and say they like us, if they can be direct and straightforward with their desire. Don't be afraid. We're not going to bite your heads off. We're not going to call security. We're not going to accuse you of harassment or anything if you come up and you're not creepy. Now, what does that mean? Almost every single woman we talked to said, just don't be creepy. But that's not really great advice because it leads you to the question, well, what do you mean? When you say creepy, what does that mean? And is that the same definition that this other woman is using? How do I know if I'm being creepy and how do I know how to avoid it? So today we're going to tell you about that. Let's start with the true definition of creepiness, okay? What is creepiness? When people say this, what are they talking about? Basically what they're saying is something about you is making them uncomfortable, right? You're creeping them out, you're making them uncomfortable. But in what way specifically, right? Not physically, not, is it emotionally? In what way, Okay, so here's how we can simplify it. Creepiness is dissonance or not being genuine or authentic, right? So when your outside actions or words or facial expressions do not match your inside thoughts or feelings or desires. That is creepiness. Let's look at the common example of the creepy old man. What makes him creepy? Just like I've been saying, if your outsides don't match your insides. So if this old man sees a beautiful girl on a park bench and he walks over to her and he says, "Hi there, I just wanted to come over and let you know you look stunning today. Have a nice day," and he walks away. Is that creepy? Let's compare it to the other man who walks over and says, "Hi there, having a nice day today?" That one looks a little creepier to me. Why? Because in the second example, he wasn't saying what he really felt. Even though he was being polite and nice, he was still creeping the woman out because he wasn't being honest. Here's another common example. Staring at a woman without saying anything or even coming over. You might think, oh, if I walk on over to her, that's what's going to upset her. No, staring at her without taking action is what upset her. Because when she looks at you staring, she goes, what the hell does this guy want? And if you never come over, then she never finds out. So you've made her uncomfortable and she remains uncomfortable the whole time. If you don't want to creep her out, if you get caught staring at a woman, you have to go over and say hi. You can just say, hey, sorry you caught me staring. I just think you're beautiful. So it's a matter of being authentic, being honest, being direct. The stuff that we teach you guys, the reason that we're always hammering on social freedom, more social freedom, so you can always speak your mind. What might come as a surprise is speaking your mind truthfully, even if what's on your mind truthfully is a sexual compliment or a sexual desire, speaking this out, admitting to it, being honest and owning it is what prevents creepiness, does not create creepiness. Now, just because you're honest about your intention with a woman doesn't mean that she's interested in the same intention. I'm not telling you that admitting your desires to a woman is going to instantly change your results. It's only going to prevent you from treading into the area of creepiness, okay? So that's definition number one. That's the most basic definition. When your outsides are not matching your insides, you are creeping somebody out. Right? So in other words, if you're not telling a woman that you have an interest in her, if you're not telling a woman that you find her sexually attractive, if you're not telling a woman that you want to go on a date with her, but you're saying everything else, you're still being creepy. I don't care if you're being super smooth and you made her laugh and everything like that. You run the risk of not getting the opportunity because she didn't know what you really wanted, or creeping her out and losing the opportunity in the first place. So it saves you so much more time and energy to be direct right from the start and share exactly what's on your mind. So I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. I hope that's given you a lot more clarity around what it means to be creepy and how to avoid it. I hope you're no longer fearing this getting called creepy, and you get out there and make some approaches and be ballsy.
I really just want to emphasize that there really are no shortcuts when it comes to meeting and connecting with women, and not coming off as a creepy weirdo and coming off as somebody who they actually want to connect with. And it's being somebody that they want to connect with. You see what I'm saying? There's no shortcut for just being a decent human being that people like. And that's why I moved my whole company away from just pickup and dating and seduction over to Infinite Man, personal development, self-love, social freedom, and dating, because there is no authentic dating life if you yourself are not happy in your life. Period. It's impossible. So always be working on your life, whatever aspect it is for you, whether it could be your health, could be your financial situation, could be just, reading that one book that's going to trigger you to make that one change in your life. Who knows what it is, but just always be chipping away, and be honest with yourself enough to go, what's the one thing that's really holding me back? Maybe you have one belief that's holding you back. Maybe it's one really bad habit that you have that's holding you back. Whatever it is, keep plugging away. And eventually you just get to that place where you just feel whole, you're healed enough, you feel good enough where you can get out there and make beautiful first impressions with amazing women. So that's it for this epic rant. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked it's a little combined video I did with me and Mikey. Like and subscribe if you're not subscribed, if you want more tips on how to love yourself and be more socially free and get more beautiful ladies in your life. And that's what we're doing over here. It's a good time. We love you, and see you in the next one.
So if authenticity is the cure for creepiness, how come we can't just run around speaking exactly what's on our mind and knowing that we're going to be okay? Well, that's because we also have to be calibrated to the situation that we're in. If you show a lack of calibration, a lack of sensitivity to your environment or the circumstances you're in, you will also creep people out because they will become uncomfortable with the knowledge that you don't know.